Go ahead, Keith.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Our webinar will begin in just a few minutes. While you're waiting, please feel free to review our program information at csudh.edu/ms-RIS. In just a few minutes. Welcome to the information session for the Master of Science in Radiologic and Imaging Sciences at California State University, Dominguez Hills. My name is Keith Otterberg. I'm the Director of Marketing for the College of Continuing and Professional Education at CSUDH, and I'll be your host. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website and social media platforms shortly after today's session. Closed captioning is also available. To begin, feel free to download the Program Information Kit for details about the program and additional resources that will be covered in the webinar. The address is bit.ly/CSUDH-MSRIS-InfoKit, one word. We have provided a link in the chat for those who are participating live, and it will also be available via a follow-up email to attendees as well as registrants on the website. Before we jump in, I'd like to review the Zoom controls. This session is being presented in a webinar format, so you don't need to worry about connecting your microphone or camera. However, we would like to have you participate. Please help us by addressing your questions by using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen if you're joining from the Zoom desktop app or the web browser, or in the right corner of your screen if you're on a mobile device. Once you click the Q&A button, a dialog box will open, allowing you to type your question. Please ask your questions in the Q&A panel rather than in the chat panel. In the chat panel, we will be providing links and other information. Our marketing staff members, Stephanie Biyukian and Anissa Barton-Thompson, will be standing by to assist you. We'll be answering those questions at the end of the session. However, you may find that your question has been answered during the course of the presentation. With that said, let's look at today's agenda. We'll begin by meeting Dr. Elwin Tilson, who's the program coordinator and professor of Radiologic and Imaging Sciences at Dominguez Hills. He will discuss the current professional outlook and introduce you to the program via an overview of the benefits, expectations, and course details. Then we'll go over how to apply and address your questions in the Q&A session. We'll also have a survey at the end of this webinar, and we'd love to get your feedback so that we can make our future events even better. And if you're on social media, please use the hashtag CSUDH Continuing Ed, or use the tag at CSUDH Continuing Ed. So let's begin. Dr. Tilson, please take it away.
Thank you, Keith. I am, as Keith said, Elwin Tilson. Up front, I need to apologize. I'm getting over a cold and I may have to cough here and there. I do apologize for that, but it can't be helped. I'm fairly well known in the discipline, in part because I've been very involved in a lot of professional activities. I've been a radiographer since 1969, and I've been a faculty member since 1978. I spent between 2 and 4 days a month throughout my entire career in clinical practice because I really love the technology and I really love patients. So I have a lot of clinical experience right there. I also have an extensive history of professional involvement where I've been the president of a couple professional societies, one of them an international society. I have scores of publications and presentations, and I've published 2 books. During my career, I've been a clinical coordinator, a program director, a chair of a department, a dean of faculty at a large university, and currently I am the coordinator for this graduate program. The other faculty member who is pivotal in the program is Dr. Gary Syed. Gary Syed is internationally known, in fact, well known, because of his role in nuclear medicine and radiation physics. He started out as a nuclear medicine technologist, and then he earned 2 doctoral degrees. I guess he didn't figure his lesson out the first time, so he had to go back and do it again, but that's beside the point. Dr. Syed also is a recipient of a Fulbright scholarship. That's kind of like an Emmy Award for faculty members. So he is really a star in academia in many ways. He also has a very extensive publication and presentation history, and he has served on just about every nuclear medicine physics board and professional society that there is. In addition to the 2 of us, we have several part-time faculty members who are specialists in their areas. As an example, we have one individual who is a radiation medical physicist who teaches some of the instrumentation courses. And we also have another faculty member who is an academic administrator, but also has a background in management and teaches some of those courses. We, the faculty, all of us, see ourselves as dedicated professionals who are student-centered and student success focused. In other words, what we believe is that we're working with fellow professionals and we're trying to help you develop. So we see education as a way to improve the profession and to advance leaders into the profession. So what is radiologic and imaging sciences? A lot of people are not really familiar with that terminology because we're so used to thinking of ourselves as dosimetrists or radiation therapists or sonographers or radiologic technologists that we don't think about the fact that we are actually part of a larger discipline, radiologic and imaging sciences. And that includes all of the medical imaging and radiation oncology disciplines. It includes majors such as radiography, sonography, radiation therapy, nuclear medicine, MRI, dosimetry, cardiovascular technology, and PACS administration. This degree is for any medical imaging and radiation oncology discipline who wants to move ahead and advance themselves and advance the profession. This degree is designed to add professional value to graduates both while they're in the program and well into the future. Let's look at the outlook for the RIS profession. For those of you in clinical practice, you already know things are difficult out there right now. There is a shortage of everybody at all levels in the profession because we saw so many retirements and COVID resignations during the pandemic. However, when it comes to faculty positions and management positions, the need in those areas are significantly greater than they are in the general technologist, sonographer type of positions. So we really, really need people to step up to leadership positions in the industry. What we're finding in the industry is that we're moving away from the primary technical focused education. In other words, how to do a radiograph, how to do a ultrasound scan, towards professional education that involves significantly more information and background with the individuals involved. And so what we're starting to find is that degrees matter now. That is a trend that we're seeing in the discipline. And in some ways, the degree is seen as a gatekeeper. And what that means is that there are certain jobs that can't be had unless you have a certain level of degrees. It also, a degree is a door opener, and there are opportunities for individuals who have degrees that will occur to them that don't get them for anybody else. To give you an example, in the education end of the business, program directors are required to have a master's degree. And if you want to teach at a university, you have to have a minimum of a master's degree, no matter what your position. And we are seeing, even in the community colleges, there is a move towards requiring everybody to have at least a master's degree in the future. And on the management side, just to show you how things are changing there was a recent study done in California and looked at director of radiology jobs, and 50% of them required a graduate degree. So the degree opens doors, and we desperately need people in those positions. Let's give an overview of the profession. Of the program. This program is a real-life, take-it-to-work skills development program. And what we try to do is get students to have a broad-based understanding of what the larger discipline looks like and how the discipline fits into healthcare in general. And also, we focus on a skill set that makes graduates valuable to the employers and lead to leadership positions. Part of that is that we have a real emphasis on evidence-based practice, where we use what we know from the science works best in the education environment, in the management environment, in the clinical environment. In this program, it is asynchronous in nature, which means that there are no set class times. So you don't have to log in Tuesday at 7 p.m. That just doesn't happen. What happens is that all of the classes are asynchronous. You can work on them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter. Within the courses, there's usually deadlines every week or every other week that students have to meet. So there's a lot of reading, projects, presentations, and things like that students have to do as part of the program. Typically, what we find is that students spend between 8 and 12 hours a week reading and discussing and doing projects. In addition to the asynchronous classes, we have a weekly voluntary engagement class meeting. And this class meeting is totally voluntary. The information that we utilize in these class meetings is not associated with the degree itself. So if a student never shows up for these things, it doesn't hurt them in any way, shape, or form. But it gives students an opportunity to get value-added additional information, to interact with other students and the faculty, and to help them progress more into the profession. Now, because time zone issues are an issue, and we have people who have to work during certain times, not everybody can attend these sessions, but they're always recorded and they're always posted, so you can go back and look at them at your convenience later on. And so we really try to develop a sense of community. Our students really develop all these professional relationships with each other as part of the program. So now some of you may be asking the question, what is an executive style program? Well, an executive style program is a program that is not an entry-level program. It's designed to take people who are already in a profession and give them additional skills that they can utilize in their current jobs or new jobs as they become qualified for them. But it's very fast-paced and things happen really fast. You can earn this degree in as little as 12 months. When we look at the minimum education admissions requirements, there are three basic things. The first is that you have to have a baccalaureate degree in any discipline. So if you have a degree in red sciences or biology or health sciences or English or even Peruvian underwater basket weaving, it doesn't matter as long as it's a 4-year baccalaureate degree. You also have to have a GPA of at least 2.5 or higher. And then you have to hold a national certification in one of the RIS disciplines. So you can see on the screen all the various initials that we have in our profession for all the different certifications. Or if you don't have one of those because you live in a country where that's not the norm, then if you have a state or national license to practice in your home country or your home state in radiography or sonography or MRI therapy, vascular technology, dosimetry, or PACS administration, that also qualifies you for this program. So let's talk about the courses that are actually in this degree. We have 3 emphasis areas in the courses. One of the emphasis areas is the science core. And the science core is designed to give all of our students an overview of the major disciplines in RIS plus radiology informatics. So that's all science-based. We'll talk about that in more detail in just a moment. Then the second emphasis area is our research-related courses. And there is where we teach students how to find literature in the in journals, how to utilize that information in evidence-based practice so that you become a better practitioner. And we also have courses on how to conduct research. And then finally, you have a capstone project where you actually will conduct research and we hopefully will be able to get it published. Now, one thing of note about the research related is that this degree does not require a thesis. So you do not have to go out and write a 120-page document at the end. Your capstone project is actually relatively short. The research that goes into it is the same as a thesis, but you just don't have to write the very long document. The final emphasis area is our track-specific courses. And we have tracks in RIS Education and RIS Management. And both of these tracks include a hands-on practicum. So all of these areas are focused on outcomes. And what that means is it's information that you can take and utilize in practice. So you hear it today, you practice it next week. So let's look at the individual courses that we utilize in the program. When we look at the RIS Core Courses, the science and technology courses, we have Radiologic and Imaging Sciences 1, 2, 3. That's a rather boring name for that, but what it covers is really important. It gives individuals a basic understanding of radiation physics and radiography, nuclear medicine, PET, MRI, radiation therapy, computed tomography, and sonography. And there's also a course in informatics in RIS, and that includes the health information systems, electronic medical records, PACS, and by the way, PACS names have changed recently, but we're going to call it PACS for the moment, AI, and cybersecurity. So the purpose of this course sequence is to make graduates conversant in all of the disciplines so that they can talk to other people in the profession and understand what they're saying and make themselves understood by people who are not necessarily in their direct discipline. When we look at the research courses, what we have is we have a basic course on how research works. And then we have a course on how to use research in evidence-based practice. So what do the studies show works? And we have, and just to give you an example, in one of the education classes, I hear frequently from people who are already out there working as teachers that when they find the science and they understand the science, say, oh my goodness, I've been doing it wrong all these years. There's a much better way to do it. So that's what we want to do, is evidence-based practice. We also have a course on how to conduct research. And then finally, the last course in the sequence is you write up and publish your research. Now, we don't require that you publish it, but we do require that students write a manuscript as though they're going to publish it, which encourages students to do just exactly that kind of stuff. So we really push students to become evidence-based, both in the management area and in the education area. And we encourage students to start publishing their research, because being able to publish research is the hallmark of a true profession. In the management track, we have a course in radiologic management. So that's the science of management. What do we know that works? Well, we talk about budgets, about HR, about staff evaluations, about outcome assessments. And the textbooks that we use for this class, and several of these classes actually, are the very same textbooks that are recommended for individuals who are studying for the Certified Radiology Administrator, or the CRA examination. So after you earn your master's degree, if you want to go on and earn the CRA certification, you have a really good head start on that. And we also are trying to produce leaders for tomorrow. So we have a course in radiologic leadership. And then we have a course in clinical program accreditation. And what that means is getting your CT scanner, your MRI scanner, your sonography facility accredited so that you can actually get paid for the work that you do. And then finally, in the management track, there is a management practicum, and it's hands-on. You would be working with a manager in a facility somewhere, and we have contracts with lots and lots of places. And you then have an opportunity to implement what you already have learned and get new skills in the management area. Just to give you an example of some of the most recent practicums that students have done, is we've had a student who did a referring physician's survey, satisfaction survey, to help a facility understand why physicians did or did not refer patients to them. We had a student do a practicum on installing a CT scanner, including design of rooms, purchasing of equipment. It was quite the project. We've had students work on leadership projects where they develop leaders in the department, quality management projects, and a cost-benefit analysis of an MRI purchase. And we have a student who's done one on door-to-needle time reduction in a stroke center. So these are examples of the types of practicums that they've done. In the education track, we have a course on pedagogy and andragogy. Pedagogy is the science of teaching and teaching children. And andragogy is the science of teaching adults, because adults learn differently than children do. So we need to understand the difference. And even adults benefit from certain times when we do pedagogy, and the rest of the time they do andragogy. We have a course on program administration, academic program administration, where we study such things as budgeting, HR, faculty evaluation, promotion, outcomes assessment. And if it sounds very familiar to the management track, it's because it is almost exactly the same information. The difference is that the environment that you do it in is the academic environment as opposed to the clinical environment. Then we have another course on academic program accreditation, and that's where you get and keep your program accredited so that your students can actually sit for the national board examinations, which would be a good thing. To give you an example of the types of practicums that students have done in there, we've had students that helped develop an online course. We've had students that helped a program develop a program assessment tool. We've had students that have helped write accreditation documents. We've had students that have developed medical school and residence modules to teach physicians in the hospital on what's the best way to actually order radiologic examinations and when it's appropriate and when it's not. So those are the kinds of things that students do in the education track. The graduation requirements are that you complete 36 semester units of the degree requirements, including the practicum and the capstone. That's pretty straightforward. You can transfer in up to 9 graduate units. So if you were in another graduate program, we can certainly look at those courses, and we can transfer in up to 9 units if you have something like that. But to graduate, you have to have the 36 units. The department also has a post-baccalaureate certificate program. And the post-baccalaureate certificate program is designed for individuals who either already have a master's degree but want additional skills, or at this point in their life, they don't want to go back to school to actually earn a master's degree. They just want the skills. So we have a certificate in management and we have a certificate in education. And the courses in those certificates are exactly the same courses that the track students take in the education track or the management track as part of the master's degree. In fact, our certificate students sit in the very same classroom as our master's students when they take those courses. So now let's talk about the cost of this program. When we talk about the cost of this program, the cost is $412 per semester unit. That works out to $1,236 per course, or $15,500 for the degree. The book costs are anywhere from $200 to $500, or $600, something like that. Now, if you are a certificate student, then the total cost of the program is about $5,400, because certificates only require 12 units, whereas the master's is 36 units. What you don't pay that full amount up front, you pay for it on a semester by semester basis. But to put some perspective on the cost of this, most master's degrees in the United States run between $25,000 and $35,000 for the degree, and some of them cost $45,000 to $50,000. Why is ours so much less expensive? Because when we were setting this degree up, we set it up as a service to the discipline and the profession to make it as inexpensive as possible so that students who wanted to get ahead in the profession could do it without going bankrupt. So there's a lot more information in the information kit, which you can download, that talks about the unit cost. There's information also in the kit about financial aid. One thing I will have to say up front about financial aid is there's quite a bit of organizations, quite a few organizations that offer some sort of financial aid, but several, particularly the professional societies, have deadlines that are usually in April or May or June. So if you're interested in those scholarships, you need to really look at them very quickly and start filling out applications. But we have a financial aid for distance learning aid. There's a scholarship for that. There's a link there for other scholarships to complete your master's degree. There are also private student loans that you can take out if you need to do that or want to do that. And in professional organizations like the American Society of Radiologic Technologies, the ASRT, has scholarships. The ARDMS has scholarships. The ARRT has scholarships. ASTRO has scholarships. AIRS, which is for educators, have scholarships. CERT, which is another educators organization, have scholarships. So there are a number of places that you can look for scholarships. There's additional information in the information kit and links to a number of other scholarship opportunities, but you really need to pay some attention to that pretty quick because the deadlines are coming up fairly quickly. So, application deadlines. We have a fall start in the program and we have a spring start in the program. The fall start, the application deadline is July 1st. And by deadline, I mean quite literally, it is the deadline. If you're missing any documentation at all on July 1st, you don't get in. So I highly recommend that you not wait to do this for that reason, and the fact that we have a first qualified, first admit basis, where if it's a year where we have a lot of applicants, the course may fill up before July 1. So if you're interested, you really need to do that. Now in the fall, we're accepting applications for both the master's degree and the certificate. If you want to start in the spring, you can do that. The deadline for that is November 1st. And again, it's both for the degree and the certificate. The big difference between those two is that the fall start allows you to complete the degree in 1 year. The spring start, by necessity, is a part-time program, and it'll take you 18 months to complete that program. So where do you apply? It's a statewide admission system called Cal State Apply, and you can see the address there in yellow, www.calstate.edu/apply. I have to tell you that that website is very difficult to navigate. So I would highly recommend doing two things. One is in the information kit, there's a step-by-step guide on how to do it. Plus, on our website, we have a short video on what to do and what to watch out for. But what happens is that when you do apply, the first thing they're going to ask you is, what term do you want to start? And you would choose either the fall or the spring. And then it's going to ask you a bunch of information that they have to process you. And then a $70 fee. And finally, it'll come up to a page where you're going to search for your program. And when you search for the program, you type in just RAD, not radiologic, not radiology, none of that, because that will throw the system off. It doesn't like any of that stuff. Just RAD, and you will find the master's degree listed at Dominguez Hills by doing that. And that's basically how the application goes. You'll have to submit a lot of information to Cal State Apply. Then once your application is complete, it is sent to the university. And once that happens, then it's your responsibility to have official transcripts sent from every single school that you've ever earned credit from in its entirety. And I do mean every single one. So when I went to graduate school, I had to send 7 transcripts because I was in the military and moved around a lot at that point in time. So that's how the deadlines work and how the process works. Now that you have some idea what the program looks like, let's talk about what you gain by being in the program. One of the things you gain by being in the program is opportunities. Our view of this program is that we're producing the leaders for the future. And we try to make sure that students get what they can learn in the class today and take into the clinical or educational environment tomorrow and utilize. We have found that students get tremendous opportunities opening to them. As I mentioned before, organizations, when they see that you're getting a graduate degree, automatically peg you as a future leader in their organization, and they will give you opportunities that you would not normally have. But other opportunities show up. As an example, Christina, who is one of our graduates from 2001, while she was a student, a sonography program contacted her about applying for a faculty position. That's almost never happens. They usually put out a notice, and whoever applies. They don't usually reach out to people and try to recruit them. but because they were aware of who she was and that she was in a graduate program, they recruited her and she was interviewed for that position. So we see students get those kinds of opportunities all the time where they're promoted, they're giving additional responsibilities, that they're put into a training program. All kinds of opportunities occur simply based on the fact that you're currently in a graduate program. And one of the other things about opportunities is about professional networking. You will make lifelong friends and colleagues. And as you progress through the program, you're going to run into and meet lots and lots of people. One of the things that we do in the program is we have individuals come in and talk to the students who are not faculty, but they all talk about the fact that they're a dean somewhere, or they're a research director somewhere, or that they're the director of radiology somewhere, or things like that. And they talk about that type of process. And they get to know who you are and you get to know who they are. So you get tremendous networking possibilities. The curriculum is very strong in this program. We don't believe in make work. We don't believe in having you do something just because we can make you do it. That is not what we do here. We try to design what you do so that it teaches you what you need to know, gives you the skills that you need to know, and prepares you to be a leader in the profession. This individual on the screen here, Michelle, talks about how her time management skills have really improved. And all of our students talk about how they've gotten really good at time management because it's a busy year, but it's doable. We rarely ever have a student that gets in academic trouble. So even though it's challenging, it's very doable. And in this here, she talked about how she sees herself growing academically, professionally, and personally because of what was in the program. And that's our intent. So you can expect a program where you work very hard, you're going to learn a lot, you're going to develop a lot of skills, and then you're going to be able to take those skills into practice immediately. Then we also have, after you graduate, all these real world applications. This particular student was, actually, he was one of my undergraduate students also, and then did the master's. And he was teaching in a program part-time. And once he got into the program, he was going, I can't believe I didn't understand how this worked, and he just really took to the idea of evidence-based practice. And he's now considered one of the best instructors out there. And he currently is in the process of finishing his doctoral degree. So he is going to be definitely one of the leaders in our profession. So we really do believe in the classroom this week and in the workplace next week. So the goal of this program is to produce the leaders of the profession for tomorrow. I'm hoping that you guys will seriously consider that. And if you want to become one of the leaders in the profession, this is definitely a way that you can do it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Elwin. That was a terrific presentation, and we got a lot of information there, and we have a lot of questions because of that. So if you still have a question to ask, please ask it in the Q&A box, and then we will get to it in order. So let's get started. Jennifer asks, if I choose education, but during the course of the program decide to change to management, is that possible?
Is this where I'm supposed to say I throw you out? No, I'm joking. We have students that have done that. It's doable. We have to look at it on a case-by-case basis. One of the people that you saw the testimonial for before this started was somebody who was in the education track and then actually got hired as a very high-level manager in a healthcare system, and she switched over. And I have another student right now that's doing something similar. So yes, you can do that. But I will say this about the reality is that the skill set that you learn in management and the skill set that you learn in education are very, very similar. It's just the environment that you work in. There are some very specific differences that are peculiar to one area or the other. But an accreditation process is an accreditation process. Management is management. Leadership is leadership. It's just the environment that you work in. But yes, if students want to switch, they certainly can.
Great, thank you. Okay, Raina is asking, how many students are accepted in the track, in each track each fall?
We try to aim for 15 students in each of the 2 tracks.
Okay.
Now, some years it's a little more than that. Some years it's a little less than that. It just depends on a number of different things.
So there's a very good faculty to student ratio is what you're saying.
Yes, yes. Usually in the education courses, which I teach most of those, a lot of those, let's put it that way. We will have anywhere from 12 to 15 students in there. And unlike a face-to-face classroom where, you've got all these people sitting in front of you, what happens is we have interactions online where we have discussion boards, we do emails, we do presentations, and we get to know the students. And then when students are working on projects, typically I will make appointments with them to have a Zoom meeting once a week so that we can talk about what they're doing. So I get to know all the students, and the other faculty get to know the students really well also.
Terrific. Okay. So we have a question from an international student. They're asking what IELT score is required for admission.
I claim ignorance on this one. I do not know the answer to that.
All right. So they should contact us and we'll get back to them on that.
Yes, the international student facility here has all that information.
Okay. Yeah, or they can contact us and we'll get it to them.
Yes.
We'll give them contact information at the end. Okay. Someone's asking, is there a clinical practice as a part of the master's degree?
No.
No.
That's the short answer. Now, you do a practicum, but you don't generally do a practicum with patients. So if you're in the management track, you may be working with a radiology manager, excuse me, or excuse me again. You may be working with a director of radiology or a team leader or a vice president or a CEO doing those types of practicum stuff. If you're on the education side, you'll be working with faculty or you'll be working with educational institutions doing assessments, development, that kind of stuff. Generally, we do not have any clinical per se.
Okay. Somebody's asking, they have a CRT/ARRT that expires later this year. Would you need to see an updated credential for the admission? No.
No. We ask for it as an admission requirement. We don't ask for it again simply because why would you let it lapse? You can't practice.
Right. Okay. Amy is asking if you need to see military transcripts.
No, not unless you earn college credit.
Okay. So if the military is a part of their bachelor's degree or what have you, then you would need to see it.
Well, typically what happens is people who earn college credit while they're in the military, it's affiliated with a degree granting institution. So the transcript is from a college that is accredited, and yes, it would transfer. But the actual military transcript, such as the one I had when I was in the military, there's nothing on there that we need to see.
Got it. Cindiana is asking, how can they find out if their bachelor's degree is accepted? As I understood it, any bachelor's degree is accepted if it's from a
Correct.
institution.
The only time that we run into a problem are individuals that have a 3-year BSc degree from a country that issues 3-year BSc degrees. It is considered a baccalaureate degree, but the 3-year degree doesn't cut it. If you have a BSc degree with honors, that's a 4-year degree. That is what we expect. So as long as you have a 4-year degree, you're golden.
Got it. Okay. Someone's asking how placement is achieved for the practicum.
That's interesting. We basically let the student decide where they want to go and what they want to do. And we help guide them. And then we work with the people that they're suggesting that they work with. We sign an agreement. We have to get a contract in place to put a student, but that's paperwork on my end. That's no big deal for the student. So we have students that work at probably about half of our students do their practicum at where they're currently working, and the other half do it somewhere else.
Okay. I believe we have the answer to this question. They're asking, if you started in fall 23, would you finish in fall of 24?
You would finish in August of 24.
Okay.
It's 12 months, August 5th through August 5th, basically, give or take.
Another person is asking, is this considered a professional or an academic degree?
Academic.
Academic. Okay. How do you consider international degrees for this course, for this program?
I'm unsure what the question is there.
I think you were answering it earlier when you talked about 3-year degrees are not accepted unless they're honors, but
right.
There is a process by which we know that there's a process by which international students can come to the U.S. and see how their program is applied.
Right. There's an office here on our campus that evaluates foreign transcripts. As long as it's a 4-year degree, there's usually not a problem. If the degree happened to be taught in English, that's even better, because then you don't have to take the TOEFL or other courses like that.
Yes. Okay. And then in terms of this country, we know that regionally accredited degrees are accepted. Are nationally accredited degrees accepted?
That's a difficult question, and the answer is generally no. And the problem is that because we're a state institution and we abide by the rules of the state, and the state says that they don't accept degrees unless somebody is from a regionally accredited institution if they earn their degree in the United States. That's the gold standard. Are there nationally accredited programs that are really first rate? Absolutely. I'm not demeaning them, but the reality is most nationally accredited programs are not considered as high quality as regionally accredited institutions.
Okay. And that's a Cal State University requirement. Yes, not just a Dominguez Hills requirement.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Jennifer's asking, she submitted her official transcripts already. How long does it take to find out if she's been accepted?
It really depends on how long it takes them to process the transcript. What happens is once the admissions office has evaluated the transcript and they've got all the documentation, they send that file to me, and I usually process it that day or the next day. So it's typically a matter of a week to 2 weeks after they have all the transcripts in the hand. But because we're getting into the busy season where lots of transcripts are coming in, it might take longer.
Okay. Okay, we got a few more questions popping up here. Somebody's asking if the transcript was submitted from the college that they graduated from. Do you still need other transcripts? In other words, do you need every transcript they ever did, or just
Yes.
the one they graduated from?
No, all of them.
All of them. Okay.
The way that policy works, and this is not just a CSU policy, this is pretty much standard nationwide, is that the only proof that you actually did those courses is an official transcript from the institution that gave you the credits. So yes, indeed, if you went to 5 undergraduate institutions, you would have to have 5 transcripts sent in.
Okay. I believe you answered this, but it bears repeating. How many hours of coursework and study time is anticipated per course per week?
I'm going to say 12-ish. And what we find is that there are weeks when it's more. There's some weeks when it's less. There are some students that will put 20 or 25 hours in there because they want to do more, which is perfectly okay. But to actually do the program and graduate from the program with decent grades, 12, is sort of an average.
Okay. Do you have any contacts at Kaiser hospitals for practicums?
Probably. Off the top of my head, I don't know the answer to that. I'm about 99% sure that we have contracts with some of the Kaiser organizations. I would have to check with our contract office to answer that question accurately. But my inclination is, yes, we do have Kaiser contracts.
So that'd be another one where they can email you and you can get back to them.
Yeah. And if we don't have a contract, we can get one started.
Okay. With their help, with the students' help.
Well, yeah, we have to find out what we're doing before we do it.
Okay. If somebody wants to spread this out beyond 1 year, what would the unit load look like?
Basically, it's 6 semester hours for, you could do it over, well, I'm going to give you 2 answers here. If you're coming in the spring, it's an 18-month program. And what happens is then you do 6 hours and then 3 in the summer, and then 9 hours in the fall and 9 hours in the spring, and then 6 hours in the summer. If you spread it out to be a 2-year program, which you can do, then most semesters you take 6 semester hours. The vast majority of students go full-time. I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh, this is easy. This is not easy, but it's doable. And like I said, we've never had a student drop out for academic reasons, ever. We work really hard with our students, make sure they get what they need and that they succeed. That's what we're here to do. So we really encourage students to go full-time, but that may not be something that you can handle because of work and family situations. That's understandable. So you can spread it out over 18 or 24 months.
Okay. Do we have spots left for this upcoming class in the fall?
Sure.
Okay.
We're just now in the process of admitting students, and we've only admitted about 5 so far, because the applications are just now starting to come in.
Okay. Somebody completed their bachelor's degree at Dominguez Hills, and they're asking if they need to submit their transcript. That's part 1. Then part 2, is there any alumni specific financial aid?
Well, for part 1, as silly as it is, yes, you have to actually have them. You have to ask for a transcript to be sent to the graduate school.
Okay.
And part 2, I do not know the answer to.
Okay. They can that's another one they can contact us and we will get back to them.
Correct.
Okay. This last one is not a question, but a comment. This is from Jennifer, who is a current student of the program. And she just wanted to say that she's currently enrolled and the program is fantastic. She recently had an amazing opportunity present itself due to enrollment in this program and plus her years of experience in the field. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's all the questions we have. So if moving forward, if you want to apply, if you're ready to apply, visit calstate.edu/apply. If you have questions, you can contact Dr. Tilson at ris@csudh.edu. So those questions that we couldn't answer tonight, please email that and we'll get back to you. And information about the program is at csudh.edu/ms-ris. Plus, there's a lot of information in the information kit that you're able to download. So that concludes our session, and we want to thank you for joining us today. We'd love to get your feedback about today's session so that we can improve the quality of the information in the future. The address for the survey is bit.ly/CSUDH-webinar-feedback. Again, feel free to connect with us on our website as well as on Facebook and LinkedIn. And we'll stay in the session for a few minutes to give everyone a moment to jot down last-minute notes and download the information kit from the chat panel. The recording for this session will be online shortly and on our website and linked via social media as well. When you're ready to leave, simply click the red Leave button in the corner of your screen. Once again, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you in class.
Okay, everybody, we're good.